Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and Merry Christmas to everybody that celebrates it and Happy Holidays. Thank you so much for joining me again. My name is Lizzie and I just figured today I would be barefaced because I'm going to do another get ready with me showing the favorite products I've found and used all throughout 2018. So kind of a year-end roundup of the products that I've really liked and enjoyed this past year. I don't think I'm going to do a dislike or hate kind of video of products that I didn't like this year because I really didn't find too many that, just didn't work well for me. The only thing I could really think of is the Sunday Riley Influencer Foundation. Yeah, I got that earlier this year and at first I liked it and then I tried it a couple more times and I really don't like it. So the reviews about that one are pretty true because it did get a lot of bad reviews from people. So that's pretty much the only thing I could think of that I didn't really like this year. Everything, I try to give everything a chance that I've bought and I haven't really come across anything that I really hated or just absolutely despised. So I just figured I'd share with you a video today of, products that I really enjoyed and like to use and just wanted to share that with you. So thank you again for watching and I hope you would subscribe to my channel. It means so much to me, despite my look right now, but I'm going to put on makeup and, just tell you a little bit more about myself. If you watched my first Get Ready with me, I shared a little bit about my personal life. Let me just show you my dog Pippa in case you haven't seen her yet. Come here. Oh, yeah, this is Pippa. Hey, say hey, Pippa. Oh, she has some fuzzy on her. She just came back from the dog park. So she is kind of tired and I just woke her up. Yeah, there you go. That's Pippa. She's 3.5 and she's a French bulldog. We got her when she was a puppy after we got married. So that was our little wedding gift to ourselves. And she actually, let me just start while I'm talking here. So one of the first things that I like, not that yet, is of course this Origins primer. I mentioned it in my first Get Ready video. It's the Pore Perfecting Cooling Primer with willow herb. So I bought this earlier in the year. I still have some left, but I believe it's just about to die. And when I tried it in store, I couldn't believe how amazing it was. It's just something, no other primer is like this right now in the market that I think is super. It comes in like a little aerosol pump and it's super cold when it comes out. And then as you apply it, it just gets smoothing and blurring. And I just love this primer. Yeah, so you just kind of pump it out. What is coming? It is ending here. So just a little bit there. I pumped a little bit more than I should have probably, but it is running out. So let me just spread that over my face here. And it has a little bit of a tint to it, but you don't really notice it. I'm having some breakouts. So I don't know. I hate when I get some spots like coming up. I hate wearing makeup over it, but just do what we do. I don't wear makeup every day anymore since I work from home now, and I just always will wear it when I had to get ready for work. Now I keep it pretty low key. But yes, anyway, we got Pippa when she was a puppy right after we got married, so that was about 3.5 years ago, from a breeder we found in Southern California, and they went ahead and sent us pictures, and we never went down to see her, so it was kind of sketchy. We were just like, oh my god, are we really getting a puppy or what's going on? And they said that they ship their puppies with a puppy nanny on the airplane, so they would ship her up to us in the Bay Area. And we were like, okay, so we sent money and just we're hoping that we were really going to get this puppy and everything was going to be fine, and it did work out well. So I was very happy about that. I always go by testimonials and make sure that they had good reviews by other previous customers and get references and everything. So that was good. And she came and she's been healthy and everything. So she's our little love bug child. And now I'm going to use a new beauty blender. I just broke this one out. I finally discarded my old one because it was just getting way too old, and I decided to get this tan one. Well, I have a few, but I decided to use the tan one today because I feel like that kind of would help the foundation more. So one of my other best of 2018 products is the Dior Face and Body Backstage Foundation. The only thing I hate is that it's very messy. Look at that. I just shook the bottle and already it's just like exploding out of it. So let me just wipe it on here. Yeah, this foundation I got in 2.5N, so it is slightly darker than my skin tone now, but I feel like it doesn't make me look orange or any like drastically different. I figured in the desert here I would tan up a little bit, but really I haven't yet. So I just got a little bit darker, but I'm glad I didn't go a little more darker than I was actually planning to. So just pat it on. And what I love about this foundation, if you haven't tried it yet, but a lot of people love this foundation, is that, you know, it's pretty, you know, medium coverage, and it's just very natural looking and natural feeling on the skin, because I really don't wear foundation too often or daily. And when I do, I don't like to feel like I have a lot of makeup on or have like a thick layer of makeup. So I feel like this foundation just sits very nicely on the skin, doesn't, you know, emphasize pores or problem areas or dry patches, and just makes it look like, you know, your natural skin, and it feels like you're not wearing anything. And that's what I really appreciate about this foundation, and kind of evens out my skin tone and texture. Let me just do a little bit more. And I really like applying foundation with a beauty blender. I just feel like the beauty blender with the moisture really helps distribute it and get it all over the face. Even covered up those red spots a little bit. Good. So this is, I only have, I think, 4 or 5 foundations in my collection. So this is definitely one of my favorites, but I really do also like the Beauty Blender foundation, even though I know it's hard with the variety of shades that they release, that there's a lot of backlash about that. But that one is a really good coverage foundation. It also feels natural. And also the Benefit foundation that they released earlier, that one is really good too. So that is my pick for the foundation for 2018, the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. And this is 2.5N. So I feel like it's a very neutral kind of coverage, not too warm, not too cool. Base for my face. Let's see here. I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna fill in my brows that I don't have any. I don't really have a favorite brow product. I'm just trying to use up some brow products for the year before the year ends and get rid of those. So I'll be right back. So I did the brows to the best of my capability. My brows are the bane of my existence. I just do not like my eyebrows, and I feel like I can never get them to look full and just that perfect arch and everything that other girls seem to be blessed with. So, or I'm just not skilled enough to do that. So I just fill them in and add some brow gel. So what else do I want to use next? So let's do eyes first. So one of my favorite, it was hard to choose a favorite palette of 2018. There's just so many new ones that I purchased this year, and you know, I just wanted to make sure I chose one that I gave a fair shot and was able to really test and make sure that, you know, I liked it and it was like my favorite, my top choice for 2018. And what I went ahead and chose was the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. You know, they released, what, three palettes this year, the Soft Glam, the Norvina, and the Sultry palette. So I mean, I like all 3. I like her past palettes, the Modern Renaissance, the Subculture, the Prism palette. You know, I have no issues with any of her palettes. I like them all, but you know, I just chose the Soft Glam because it was very unexpected surprise to me because I at first was not going to get this palette. I was just, oh, the doorbell rang. I was just going to pass over it because I was like, it just looks boring. It just looks like, you know, a bunch of neutrals and who cares? But I was like, well, let me get it because I like collecting all of them and just test it out. And I just fell in love with the palette. It was just like, creates the most beautiful looks, and I feel like you can just do so many different looks with it, whether you want like something everyday and natural for work or just something a little bit glammed up for the night with the sparkly shades and shimmer shades. And you know, her formula is just, you know, one of the best. So I chose the soft glam out of the other palettes that she released because I just felt like it was definitely the most surprising to me, and I just couldn't help but love it. So this was the palette I chose for 2018, and let me just create some look. I haven't decided yet what I wanted to do. Yeah, so back to our dog, Pippa. So she was actually our second dog that we owned together. Fortunately, we had a French bulldog before her, and it was a male brindle that we named Boomhauer after the character in King of the Hill. So we named him Boomhauer, and we got him a couple years after living in San Francisco. I'm just going to use my Wayne Gloss eye brush. I'll take the shade Tempera, the, you know, pale shade here to set down as a base. So we had a dog named Boomhauer that we purchased from a breeder in the East Bay that I just found online. And the guy was super nice. He, you know, we were afraid he might be sketchy, or, you know, just thought it was kind of sketchy buying a dog that we never met, or we actually met at the one of the mall's parking lots, and we're just like, okay, this is weird. We're just gonna buy a dog from some guy we don't know in a mall parking lot. Okay. But yeah, he was very nice. You know, we met him in the mall first just to make sure he wasn't like gonna steal our money or anything. And he had 2 dogs left, and he was with his girlfriend that we met out in the parking lot with the dogs, and they were just so adorable. And you know, I've always wanted a French bulldog. I just felt like they were so cute and like the perfect apartment dogs for San Francisco. San Francisco is like literally crawling with French bulldogs. They are everywhere. Everybody has a freaking French bulldog. Is you know, one of a very popular breed there, very posh, you know, to have a French bulldog in the city. And they're, like I said, great apartment dogs, small, and the couple that we've had have not, you know, been noisy or barked or anything at all. So that's always nice when you live in an apartment. So I'll put Tempera down, and then I'm going to take the Sigma blender brush, or no, Morphe M573 blender brush, and use the shade, let's do, don't do burnt orange. Do I want to do an orangey look? Yeah, let's do orangey to kind of go with my outfit today, my little sleeper romper. So I'm going to take the shade burnt orange here and put that in the crease and outer corner. So like I said, he was very nice and super friendly, and we chose Boomhauer, and he was just the sweetest, most lovable dog, and we raised him from a puppy. And then after a year old, he started getting health issues right around Thanksgiving time, and you know, he wouldn't keep his food down. He just kept throwing it up, and we took him to the vet, and they said he aspirated some of his vomit. Sorry, this is going to be a sad story. Maybe I shouldn't share it because it's so sad around Christmas time, but it just reminds me of him around this time of year. And long story short, yeah, they kept him for a few days, and they, you know, were running tests, and they thought it was some genetic neurological disease because he was also having seizures and stuff while he was in there, and still wouldn't keep food down, and they had to do an IV and everything. But long story short, they thought it was best that we had to put him down because he couldn't keep food down, and if it was neurological, they would have had to do brain surgery, and even the brain surgery might just diagnose the problem. It might not solve it or cure it or anything, and he would have needed a feeding tube and everything, and it was just such a bad quality of life to make him go through that. So I unfortunately, I'm trying not to get too sad. Unfortunately, we had to put him down, and it was so upsetting, especially because it was Dan's first dog ever, and just the fact that, like, oh my God, the most tragic, situation happened with this dog, and we lose him, of course, and it was just so sad. So I felt so bad for Dan, of course, because I've had dogs growing up. I've had a black lab mix, a Bichon Frise growing up, and after college I had a boxer that I raised from a puppy. So it was very sad and heartbreaking, and now I'm going to take, as I talk about makeup too, now I'm going to take the shade Rustic here, this kind of warm brown shade, and darken and deepen up the corners here. So that was super emotional and sad, and that happened, I think, the first week of December that we decided we had to put him down. So that was kind of a damper on our holiday a few years ago. This was like, so Pippa's 3.5, so this was probably like 4.5 years ago now. So, we didn't want to get another dog right away, especially because French bulldogs are so freaking expensive. And so we just decided to wait. And then the following October, so this was in December, so the following October, Dan and I got engaged, and we were planning to just have like a wedding back in my hometown of Western Massachusetts. Maybe the following couple of years later, we were going to do that. And we actually decided in February of 2015 that we were going to get married that year. And so I had February, March, April, May, about 3 months to plan a wedding. Yeah. So the reason why we decided to do that was because we were already going back east to go to his cousin's wedding. And I hadn't seen my brother since we moved to San Francisco. My brother moved to Louisville, Kentucky, around the same time I moved to San Francisco. So we hadn't seen each other in like 3 years. And so while we were going back for the wedding for his cousin, my brother decided he would come home and visit and spend time with us. And I was like, if you're just going to be home, rather than make you try to come home again the following year or the year after, maybe we should just try and have our wedding then. And my parents were going to help us pay for the wedding. And, I just asked them, I was like, it's such a waste of money to have some cute, of course I always pictured like a big, huge wedding, but then I was just like thinking about all the money spent towards that for like one day. And I was just like, I'd rather have that just given to us and do a smaller wedding. And then we could just use that money, in the future for like a house or savings or something. And they totally agree. They're like, yeah, whatever you want. 'Cause, why spend a ton of money that you're not going to see again? So yeah, that was in like February. I'm going to take this shade Mulberry, this kind of maroony red shade here, and add that to my eye. Sorry if I'm talking too much. After we decided, yeah, let's just do that, Dan was totally on board with it. His parents were okay with it. They're like, oh yeah, we eloped, so it doesn't even matter to us if you guys have a huge wedding or not. So I had, like I said, 2-3 months to plan this wedding before we went home. And basically, my mom helped out a lot since she was the one in our hometown, making sure the venue and everything got all squared away while I was still on the West Coast, and kind of just muddied it up a little. Sorry, you know, I'm not a professional makeup artist, so this is just winging it. So the venue I really wanted to have the wedding at was Edith Wharton. She is a American lit author from, I don't know, 1800s, early 1900s, something. So she had her summer house in my hometown called The Mount, and it's a historic site now for tourists and everything. And the mansion itself is nice, but what I really wanted was to have the wedding in her garden and the grounds of the estate. So I contacted them, and you know, usually they're booked out like way in advance, but since it was so last minute, they're like, oh, you know, we do have that weekend available. And because it was like they still had it available, they severely discounted the price of the venue because, you know, they just wanted to book it. And so I think normally it was something like crazy, like $10,000 or something to book it, but we got it for way cheaper to book it for the weekend that we wanted to get married, which I believe was Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, that year, Memorial Day weekend of 2015. And they said we could either do Saturday or Sunday. And basically, we just wanted to keep the guest list small. And I think we kept it about 50 guests total. So just like aunts and uncles, some of our good friends, a couple of our, you know, our roommates from San Francisco, and then our friends from back home we invited. And we decided not to do like a big reception. We just decided to do cocktail hour and a sit down dinner at one of the local inns after the ceremony. So we just had a nice little ceremony. I wore like a cocktail wedding dress from J. Crew. So just something simple, and luckily it did not rain that day because, you know, Massachusetts weather in the summer and the humidity, you just never know. It might just start thunderstorming and then go away. So luckily it did not rain. It was warm though. It was very warm because it was late May, and so we managed to have the ceremony outdoors. And even if it was to rain, we would have had it like on the covered porch or inside the mansion if it had to change locations. But yeah, we just had it outside. Very quick ceremony. And had dinner and cocktail hour, and then those who wanted to go out after and party at one of the local bars down the street, we just all did that after. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of, you know, not as much stress as a huge wedding was going to be, and it was just, you know, so many people like came up to us and told us like how much fun they had and how, you know, cool it was that we did our wedding this way. So not like a big fancy to do and, you know, make everybody just get dressed up and be all uncomfortable or anything. It was just very kind of laid back and casual, but, you know, of course not like jeans or anything, but just something a little bit different and a little bit out of the ordinary. And it was nice to have my brother there and see all of our friends. And since Dan's cousin was getting married the weekend before, you know, his family from out of town were already there, so it was really nice that they could all still stay and join us for our wedding. So now I'm going to take this shade Sultry, this kind of, I don't even know, like warm brown pink shade, and just pat that in the center of my eyelid. So after our wedding, we had planned to honeymoon the following year, since we already like used up a bunch of our vacation time to go home for this. And so we already had planned to have Pippa shipped out to us. And I think when we landed back from Massachusetts, she had also arrived. So we went and picked her up right after the airport. We didn't even stop home or anything. It was just like, boom, airport, time to go get her dog. And she was just so tiny and cute, and she had a little cough, and we were just like, oh my gosh, she is so small. She was supposed to be like 9-10 weeks, and she just like was way smaller than Boomhauer was. So, you know, of course we were worried like if she had any health issues or anything, but luckily she has been healthy and just the sweetest, funniest dog ever. So we love having our dog, and we love French bulldogs, and really hope we could get more in the future to give her brothers and sisters, because she is just so much fun. And French bulldogs just have the best personality. If you've never played with one, they're just so funny. And there's just so many like French bulldog accounts on Instagram and everything. It's just crazy. Everybody is like crazy about French bulldogs, but I guess it just depends on, you know, what kind of breed you have. And I just love dogs. I'm gonna take a small brush here and just pat. Don't really know. Maybe I'll just use this rose pink shade in the corner of my eyelid. Oh, I forgot how soft that was. So what are you guys doing for the holidays? Do you just have to travel and go home, or do you have people at your house? Do you have friends over, or is it just family? You know, I really like hearing about everybody's traditions since moving away from home and not having any Christmases at home the past 6-7 years. It's been really different, but it's nice. I mean, in San Francisco, it's not uncommon to have a bunch of friends around, since nobody wants to travel then at that time of year anyway. So, and we had our old roommates back then too that we would just kind of make our own Christmas tradition with, and all eat together, open gifts together. So it was really nice and sweet having just some friends to spend the time with, since we couldn't be with our families. Just brushing that off. And now for the lower lash line, I'm going to take Sienna. No. Let me just do mulberry. I'm going to take that mulberry shade and brush on the lower lash line. But yeah, so sometimes we would cook, sometimes we would go out for dinner in San Francisco. Of course, you need reservations. But you could, yeah, usually find a nice restaurant to go eat dinner at, since so many people are also traveling from out of the city, out of town, and spending their holiday in San Francisco. It just was so hard because it never felt like Christmas in California, since it's just like no snow, not cold, well, not too cold, and people really don't put lights out. Like, there's hardly anybody that puts Christmas lights and decorates. So it just like would suddenly be upon us like, oh yeah, it's Christmas, but it doesn't feel like Christmas. So I never really got used to that. We did a tree a couple times, but not every year. It's just like, you know, having guy roommates and guy friends, they never wanted to do the decorating and the taking down the decoration part, and I was stuck with it, and I just did not want to do it every year for that. It's just a lot easier not to. That is one of my favorite parts of Christmas, is decorating the tree. So I think when we have little ones and stuff, that would be a really fun tradition again. Do that. Every time I put eyeshadow on my lower lash line, I just feel like it's just this huge mess. I don't know. Let me get something to fix it a little because I feel like it's a little messy over there. Q-tip. And then, are you guys having any plans for New Year's? I used to always love doing something for New Year's, whether it's going out or just having a bunch of friends over or something to celebrate. New Year's used to be one of my favorite holidays to celebrate because I just feel like, it's out with the old and with the new, starting a fresh start and just ringing in the new year and having bunch of fun and everything with everybody. Everybody's in a good mood. And then now I think actually Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. Just the whole togetherness and family and food. And so I'm a big foodie. I love to eat good food. I love to watch cooking shows. I used to watch the Food Network all the time. My brother is actually, he went to culinary school and is a chef. So I feel like maybe I have a little knack for cooking, even though I don't cook like all the time. But I do love to watch, the cooking shows and how it's done. So I picked, before I start talking about that, I picked a few face palettes as my favorite for 2018, just because rather than pick individual highlighters or individual blushes or bronzers, I've had so many face palettes that have just been outstanding this year. And of course, one of them is the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. I featured this in my first Get Ready With Me. This is just stunning. The shades, and they just all seem to work for me. And I just love them. So this is the first one. I'm going to use some from all three. The second one I picked is the Too Faced Natural Face Palette. Ugh, the packaging is gorgeous. I really love what they did for this collection. I only got the face palette, not the eyeshadow palettes, but these shades are gorgeous, and the imprint and design on them, they just made everything so beautiful for this collection, and the powders themselves are just stunning when applied. And then the last face palette that came out near the end of the year, of course, is the Hourglass. Which one is this one? The Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked. I've only gotten like maybe their trios before, never like their full face palettes. So this was the first one that really caught my eye, and I just had to get it. And I'm so glad I did, because these powders are really lovely too. So what do I want to use? So I think I will use the bronzer in the Too Faced palette. So the bronzer in here is the shade Sunny Honey. So I'll use that one. But yes, I love watching cooking shows and food competitions and guys' grocery games. I love to watch that. My favorite competition show is Top Chef. I love watching Padma and Tom Colicchio, and just like even before all these shows, in college I used to just watch like Giada on the Food Network and Iron Chef and Rachel Ray, Ina Garden, Barefoot Contessa. Was like, oh my god, everything she makes, I just wanted to duplicate and eat. Just looks so good. So yeah, I mean, I'm not like the best cook, but I feel like if I maybe tried to really apply myself, I do like to cook and, follow along and look up recipes. And I like watching the great, British baking show. That was binge watched that on Netflix. That was really good. But yeah, I wish I maybe had gone to culinary school. That would have been interesting, but I just feel like it is very intense in any kind of like restaurant kitchen. They are just so crazy. I think all chefs are a little bit crazy. You kind of have to be to deal with that pace and have angry customers and everything. I don't think I could deal with that. I just would want to cook for the pleasure of it. So yeah, I really like Thanksgiving because of all of that this year. For Christmas, I'm gonna cook a bunch of stuff for our Christmas dinner together. Some things that I plan to cook is a new stuffing recipe I found online that includes some Granny Smith apples and pecans. So I want to try that and add a little bit of sweetness in the stuffing. I love stuffing. And make some homemade cranberry sauce and Brussels sprouts with bacon and blue cheese. I love that. So we're gonna just do like a small turkey breast for us and have that together. But even though we're, in Arizona, and I was saying how it doesn't feel like Christmas when we were in San Francisco, Arizona, it feels a little bit like Christmas here. I feel like a lot more houses put up lights here. So sometimes when we're just driving at night, we just like to see all the house decorations and all the lights that people have put up. So that's always makes it feel like the holidays again. Sorry, I just used the Dior kind of bronzer shade. And let's see here for highlight. Do I want to use Too Faced again? I think I want to use that for blush. Maybe I'll use the Hourglass. I don't think it's as blinding. No, I'll use the Hourglass. I'm just going to take this little BH Cosmetics highlighting brush and I'll go into this highlighter shade from from Hourglass. So yeah, so that was basically my wedding. Our dog Pippa, our old dog Boomy, called him Boomy. What I think about eating and food. What else? I like to read. I wish I could read a lot more than I used to. I used to just devour books. You guys remember Barnes and Noble? I used to love going to Barnes and Noble. And sorry, just feel like I don't have enough highlighter. There we go. Love going to Barnes and Noble and just spending hours there. And just I would walk out with 5 books that I would buy. Just love to read, mostly fiction. But it was just, I used to just read them a book a week. Now I think I will take the shade, maybe I'll do a little mix of Pink Sand and the Pink Wink since it's so bright. Yeah, mostly fiction. And in high school I used to love reading the American Lit books that we would read for class and college, and I took British Lit too. But now I feel like I lose interest quickly now. Before, when I would start a book, I had to finish it. Even if I didn't like it, I just had to finish it and just give it a chance and try it. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. But now I feel like if something doesn't keep my attention, I'll just put it down and never pick it up again. So I need something that is kind of more of a quick read, or just really enthralls me more than other books that I used to read. So I really like kind of, those page turners and thrillers and everything like that. So I think I'll take a little bit of the Dior. Maybe I'll do the light pink here and just kind of highlight the blush a little. Oh, like a blush topper. Sorry, I'm just it's hard to talk and do makeup at the same time. I really don't feel like I'm doing a good job of either. And then I will go back into the Hourglass palette and take my setting powder brush and kind of go into both here and here to brush all over the face. The last couple of good books that I read the Crazy Rich Asian series. I read the first one when it first came out, and then I didn't even know he was making a trilogy of them. So I just found that out when the movie was coming out, so I bought the second two and devoured those. So those were really good. I just read this book. It was the first time novel for this author, who was also from the Bay, or lives in the Bay Area, called The Euthanist. That was really good. It actually surprised me. I've had that book. Sometimes I just buy books and they sit on my shelf for like years before I finally decide to read them. And I've had that book for like 2 or 3 years and never read it. And I finally just opened it up and read it, and it was really good. So I was like, it took me so long. Okay, so that are the face palettes that I chose for 2018. Now for lip. So I'm not going to use both of these products, but I'm going to show you. My favorite lip gloss formula is by Marc Jacobs. And then when he released this new, what is it, like a lip gloss stick, it's just as good as his lip gloss liquid formula. So this is a stick form, and it's just, I won't crank it out because it doesn't go back in. So yeah, you have to be careful of that, but it's got kind of a minty cooling effect on your lips, just like his lip gloss, and it just feels so smooth and hydrating and just feels so nice on your lips. So this is the shade Mocha Choco Latte also, but yeah, the lip gloss stick is amazing. And then my favorite lipstick for the year of 2018, of course, is Pat McGrath's Luxe Trance lipsticks. I have I can't even tell you how many Pat McGrath lipsticks I have. Or is it Pat McGraw? I don't know. But her lip formula is just so good. The Matte Trance is like no other matte lipstick I've come across. And then the Luxe Trance lipsticks are just super creamy and comfortable, but don't feel like heavy or sticky on your lips. So this is the shade Attitude. Kind of like a brownie red color that I thought looked good with this eye makeup. Should have exfoliated my lips. They're a little dry. Yeah, so this is the shade Attitude, a brownie red. But like I said, she has so many shades, and all of them are just so pretty and flattering. And then she also has those like lip balms that she came out with that are really nice too. But yeah, basically those are all my picks for 2018. Thank you guys so much for, just watching me apply my makeup haphazardly and joining me on, some more stories about myself and sharing that with you guys. I really appreciate your time and consideration of watching my videos, and I hope you would like to subscribe to my channel to see more in the future. Thank you guys. Have a great holiday and a happy new year. Bye.